Hi, it's Dean Rogers. I'm here in Tampa, Florida at a real estate investing mastermind. Besides the information you learn, it's the people you meet and the relationships you build. So I'm going to be interviewing real estate millionaires and finding out more about them. Let's go. All right, so who are you and how'd you become a millionaire?
I'm Jason Hartman, and I chose to follow the path of the most historically proven asset class in the entire world, income property.
There we go. So you're an economics guy. Tell me, what do you think? What do you think about the market? Where do you think it's going? What does that mean for real estate?
Yeah, well, we're definitely in a time of extreme change, and it's becoming a very divided situation where some people are doing very well and others are struggling. And sadly, we are witnessing, really over the past few decades, but it's accelerating, the destruction of the middle class. And, you know, if you want a country to be stable, you need a large middle class. That's a critical element. So I think it's very unfortunate that that's happening. But my mission, and I'm guessing yours too, would be to save the middle class, because it's just so important to the stability of our country, our culture, our society, to save that. So as many people, unfortunately, are moving down the socioeconomic ladder, some are moving up, and it's becoming more concentrated, and the middle is being hollowed out. Certainly, you could say this is planned. There's a lot of indication that is
There's no mistake.
The path. Yeah, okay. I'm glad you agree.
We're on the same page.
Not everybody agrees, you know. A lot of people think, oh gosh, tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. But, you know, the problem with these... what we have now is we're running out of conspiracy theories because so many of them are coming true.
Right?
they're like conspiracy facts.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, that's the situation we're in. But you know, we are in a time of change. We're having bank failures, but I think what all this leads to is more and more inflationary pressure, and that's good for real estate investors. Now, most real estate investors think that they're making money because the property appreciates. And they are hedging inflation that way, so that's okay. It's better than nothing. But the real way they're benefiting is if they leverage their properties. Number one, they're getting a multiplier effect on inflation, so that's the first part. But then they're getting something else that I've been teaching for years called inflation-induced debt destruction, meaning they borrow money today and pay it back in cheaper dollars over time. So inflation, while it hurts most people because it destroys the value of stocks, bonds, savings, it also thankfully destroys the value of debt. So those who have long-term debt against hard assets, like income property, they make out really well in that situation. Now, the inflation bugs would say, well, buy gold, buy silver, buy precious metals, right? That's always their answer. And that would be okay if you could rent out the precious metals, if you could finance them for 3 decades with fixed rate interest, you know, that's lower than the rate of actual inflation, if that interest were tax deductible, if you could do 1031 exchanges on them. I mean, income property is in a class by itself because it's such a favored asset class. The government wants us to provide housing, and taxes are the largest expense most people have. So if you can save on taxes, just that alone puts you so far ahead of most people. So, you know, plus there's so many other benefits like we talked about.
Yeah. So what do you think needs to happen in the economy to save the middle class?
Well, the middle class needs to become educated, and they need to take steps because the government will not be there for them. We know that. We know the pension system around the world is collapsing. The welfare state is collapsing, if not in what I call nominal terms, and the word nominal, it means in name only, right? So if I held up $1 and I said, what is this? You'd say it's $1, right? And that's now. But if I held up $1 30 years ago and said, what is this? You'd still say $1. It's the same name, but it's a different value. So they will still pay benefits, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, you know, whatever pension program you are in any country you might be listening to this. But it will be inflated away, so the value of it will be lower. They'll still pay people the money, but the value will be lower, so their standard of living will decline. And the way we insulate ourselves with that is with the most historically proven asset class in the world, and that is income property. And it's accessible to most people. It's really similar to what the big Wall Street moguls do. Carl Icahn, T. Boone Pickens, all these big corporate raiders you've heard of, right? They use a technique they call the LBO, or the leveraged buyout. And basically what they do is they acquire a company, they saddle it with debt, and then they delegate the repayment of the debt to the company they just acquired. That's exactly how a rental property works. Okay, if you think about it, right? Because that debt is what we call self-liquidating debt. Okay, you don't pay the debt. It would be bad if you had to pay it.
Right.
But you delegate that responsibility to your tenants. So your tenants repay the debt, and it becomes self-liquidating. And then it's got all these other great features because it's this multi-dimensional asset class. So it's really a special asset class, and that's what's important.
Self-liquidating. I don't think I've heard that before. That's good. So I think this is probably a message for the people who are not yet investing, right? We're both invested. We both have portfolios. We understand. We drink the Kool-Aid. We understand the benefits.
The Kool-Aid.
The person who's watching this that hasn't yet got in the game, what do they need to hear to get across? What is it that they need to hear?
As the old saying goes, I think it came from one of my great mentors, was probably the originator, Jim Rohn, you've probably heard of. Great business philosopher, life philosopher of the past. And he said, most people overestimate what they can do in a year, and they underestimate what they can do in 5 years. So start. You've got to get started. I mean, I bought my first rental property when I was 20 years old. It was a humble little rental property, but it's amazing how fast the time passes and how you can just build on things. And instead of being hurt by all the things that hurt most people economically, inflation, government spending, all of the stuff that is bad for most people, the tables turn and you're now on the right side of that equation and it benefits you. So just start. Delay gratification, make sacrifices today to save up that money to buy your first property, and just keep parlaying that as much as you can, and you'll be surprised. I mean, look, 5 years is going to pass, 10 years is going to pass, no matter what. You got to get started, and that's the important part.
What do you see happening to the real estate market over the next 12, 24 months?
It's going to be mixed, because in a country as large and diverse as the United States, there's no such thing as a housing market. There are almost 400 what they call MSAs in the U.S. metropolitan areas. There are over 3,100 counties. There are over 9,000 cities. It's a very large, diverse country, and all real estate is local. So it's different in every market. Nobody can say what the housing market is going to do, because I don't know where the housing market is. Is it in San Diego, Miami, LA, Michigan? It's all different, right? But you can divide it into three major types of markets: linear markets, cyclical markets, and hybrid markets. And these basic types of markets act very differently. So if you're looking at a graph of appreciation over time, a cyclical market would be San Diego, okay, where you are.
Yeah.
And I grew up in LA and lived in Orange County as an adult, lived in La Jolla for a little while too.
Nice.
So those are all cyclical markets, okay, and there are many others. If you're looking at the way that market appreciates over time, it's like a roller coaster. It's glorious highs, ugly lows, glorious highs, ugly lows, right? Linear markets, on the other hand, are these boring markets in the Midwest, the Southeast, that, they have little highs and lows, but they're not significant. And those markets have low land values and better cash flow. So those are the markets we like to invest in.
Okay.
But the cyclical markets, if you can time it right, are great to speculate in, because you can hit a home run or a touchdown, in your case, in a cyclical market much more quickly, right? But you gotta time it right. So it's just a different type of thing. Yeah.
Cool. So where can people find you?
JasonHartman.com, or my podcast, The Creating Wealth Show, is available on any podcast platform. Just type Jason Hartman, and follow me on all the social media outlets as well.
Awesome. Yeah. I've followed Jason for years now. He's a legend. Make sure to follow this guy. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. All right, guys, Dean Rogers again. Thank you so much for watching. If you've come to the very end of this video, then I hope you got a ton of value. For me, this is what it's all about. When you can get around other people that are thinking at higher levels, that have gone through incredible life experiences, then you're going to benefit from that as well. And just that's where the growth happens. So I hope you were inspired. I hope you search out some of these people and learn more about them. There's some incredible people that have gone through and have incredible stories. So make sure to stay in touch. You can reach me at deanrogers.com to connect more. We'll see you next time. Peace.